Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store for items like the G7X Creator Kit, perfect for YouTube vlogging. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. And, you know, we all come from a family. A long family tree dating back hundreds of thousands of years. Maybe, I got no idea, but at least a long time. A couple hundred years at best, right? And we have people in our families, and I'm sure everyone out there has that one aunt who spends her golden years researching her family tree to see just how far back she can go, who we're related to, so on and so forth. And I do have an aunt like that. An aunt that told me back in 2006, hey, did you know you're Jewish? And I'm all like, but it's on my father's side, so I'm not. Not in the way that it would matter, at least, right? But the point is I have an aunt like that. But I've never really looked into what other elements of DNA make up my being. I don't know where I come from. My father says we have family in the Netherlands. My grandmother on my mom's side is from Canada. So it's like, where did that come from? Where did my name originate? Those kind of things are always interesting to me. But I'm also too lazy to look it up. So there are companies like 23andMe that do this for you. And of course, now we're seeing this particular headline saying DNA testing companies like 23andMe admit adding fake African ancestry to white profiles in order to screw with racists. Yeah, because what better way to tank your company's reputation by completely screwing with the findings? Now, and I'm just going to start off. I haven't read this article yet. As often I go through this stuff with you guys. I'm going to guess somewhere down the road they're saying, well, life began in Africa, so that's where we know everyone came from. Yeah, but even that's not true. A while back, it was discovered that there were bones from Europe that date back prior to the earliest known bones found in Africa, completely throwing that entire narrative about life beginning in Africa up in the air. And it's funny because you didn't hear a lot of mainstream media talking about it because it would destroy the narrative. But let's take a look here, shall we? Who were your ancestors? What is your ethnic background composed of? Sites like Ancestry.com and 23andMe have always been some go-to sources in answering all of your toughest questions. But how accurate are they? In a recent interview with Cracked, one of the major ancestry testing companies, which the specific company is unknown, spilled the beans on what really happens when you purchase an ancestry kit. While I can't say I'm surprised, you may be shocked to learn that these ancestry sites aren't always as accurate as they claim to be. Beyond this, they've also admitted to tampering with the results to screw with racists. Now, don't get me wrong. I like messing with racists. They're fun to fuck with. They are. Because oftentimes their life view is so narrow, it could fit through the eye of a needle, and you're just like, really? There's a lot more to life than ethno-nationalism, but you're too, brain dead to figure it out. Yeah, I'm talking about Richard Spencer, but the whole point is that they're fun to mess with because they're so stupid. They are, and I can understand the desire to do this. But this is not like a personal side project. This is a very large company that wants the reputation of being fair and accurate. And if it's not fair and accurate, then there's going to be some issues there. So it says here, when Inside Edition had a set of triplets send their spit to Ancestry.com and 23andMe, they got wildly different results from both services. Neither gave each triplet the same ancestry results, saying tests can be a crapshoot. For DNA tests, they use genetic markers, which are little variations in the DNA, one of several groups that may have, but others do not. The more markers there are, the more accurate the tests will be. So it goes on to say that, remember when white supremacist Craig Cobb found out that he was 14% black? Well, as it turns out, there's a possibility those numbers could have been fudged with, saying Morgan and his colleagues were caught between a rock and a really want to mess with racist place. It would have been funny to throw a 10% West African in there, but then they might have pissed off a dangerous person at their office waving a gun. Since we couldn't do anything to the results and we wanted to, see, that bothers me, the end we wanted to. Why? Why? Your job is objectiveness. Your job is to present the evidence, the findings objectively. When you're sitting like, well, we want to screw with them racists, you're no longer objective. And your entire mission statement as a company comes into question. Everything you do comes into question. Are you stacking the deck against certain people or for certain people, depending on who they are. When their name comes in, do you Google them to look at their internet history to see whether or not they're a white nationalist, a white supremacist, or just a bigot? Do you then at that point in time determine whether or not you're going to screw with them in any particular way? Because they have no way of necessarily clarifying or confirming, I should say, the findings outside of going to a competitor who may give them a wildly different response. This is one of those times where it's just, yeah, it's really stupid. And so what they did is they added a less than 1% to each African category or of ethnicity. That way we weren't lying, and they would be both wondering how much under a percentage point that was. We also try to round to the nearest number because we sometimes hear about percentage points, but for them, we leave it open to whether it's 1 or 0. So they admit to fudging the numbers. Right. Even though it's probably, less than a percentage, the idea there is to cause doubt in the person's mind. At what point am I no percent of African? Am I a whole percent? Am I 0.5%? Am I 0.2%? Am I 0.8% Nigerian? Like, what does any of this mean? And yeah, it's meant to screw with them, but that's not why people go to these things. They don't want to walk away with more questions. They want just some clarity, even if it is for entertainment purposes only, so to speak. It says here that it's a compromise that's elegant in its passive-aggressive simplicity, and it got a result. The near end bomber who wrote to us asking what that meant, and we wrote back saying it meant you were under 1%, and we're not saying 0 unless they got another test that was going to bother them. Maybe they weren't 100% Caucasian. I mean, they were according to the results, but this way it leaves it open and they'll always be wondering. And yeah, having that nagging thought on the back of their head is kind of an indirect way to mess with these people. I get that. But at the same time, it's not your place to do that. These people aren't finding you in the back of Cracked magazine and sending in, a sample of their semen in order to get tested for DNA. They're putting faith in your company's ability to be objective and upfront. And unfortunately, that's not what's happening here. So the article here says, this is beyond shady and deceptive. People pay more than they can really afford sometimes just to find out the truth about their heritage. What about this is acceptable? How does this turn a racist into a non-racist? It doesn't. There's nothing but high levels of dishonesty in these companies. Unfortunately, this doesn't even fully cover the other things they do behind closed doors. That's never a good sign now, is it? With a massive database of genetic information, the company can turn around and sell that data to other companies. Plenty of those companies are doing scientific research that can only be done with access to large amounts of genetic information. Even government agencies like the National Institute of Health use the data to better understand the heredity and causes of diseases. Well, I don't view that as being inherently bad. We'd like to be able to kind of cure diseases, and if they are hereditary, be able to pinpoint if there is a genetic marker that is causing such a thing, to find it, to isolate it, and to hopefully terminate it, right? Or find a cure for it. So I get that. But at the same time, it is a little bit shady because people out there think that when they send off their DNA, that's going to be it. They send off their spit swab, and that's going to go through their database, going to get the numbers, go from there, and then bam, it's in the trash. Well, no. You have to look through the legal mumbo jumbo here. These companies, are in the process of making money, and they're going to find alternate revenues to do so. Look at Facebook and its data mining on you. Facebook data mines you, Google data mines you, YouTube, Twitter, they all data mine you as a way to get information to sell to advertisers. MoviePass, for example, $10 a month, see one movie a day, is doing it at a lower cost because they're going to data mine you as a consumer and then sell that data to marketing companies who will then offset the cost of what it's costing them to run MoviePass for $10 a month. So you see everyone out there on the web, to an extent, compiles data for third-party selling. It's not uncommon. However, I would like to see more companies be upfront and honest about it, because I think if someone's upfront and honest about it, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Am I getting a deal up front and this isn't hurting me on the back end? Cool. But be upfront. But clearly these companies are not doing that. Now, Popular Science reports also that Ancestry DNA has a partnership with the Google-owned biotech Calico and shares the DNA of unsuspecting victims in the name of science and help for research. If you were hesitant to purchase these kind of kits before, I'd highly advise you to save your money and discourage SJWs from telling every white person that they're black. All right, so clearly this article is Squawker is clearly going to be pushing an ideological narrative here, and that's fine. That's fine. The Interview in Cracked is a real thing. The Interview in Cracked does talk about this, and it doesn't matter what Squawker's agenda here is. It does give you, well, an idea that these companies are messing with you because of ideological and narrative reasons, and that is wrong. That is really, really freaking wrong. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world where this happens. You know, look, people out there are going to be bigoted. They're going to be discriminatory. They're going to be prejudiced. And in many cases, there's not much you're going to be able to do to them to turn them from that outside of showing compassion and kindness, as we've seen works more often than not. The old saying, you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. We know this. But when it comes to screwing with their DNA test results because you want to mess with one supposed white nationalist, regardless of how stupid they are, that is not your place to do. It is not your place to use this company and their reputation to risk it all in order to play a prank on one person. Now, at the same time, the shitlord in me can see the humor in it, right? Can see the humor of just wanting to like poke the bear, right? And look, I get the humor. I don't support the humor, but I get the joke. You do it because it's like that. It's that nagging little thought in the back of your head. So for the rest of their life, they're going to be wondering, am I black? Do I hate myself? You know, it's that self-doubt that they're going to try to use in hopes to maybe get them to see the light, if you will. I just happen to disagree that it's the proper way of going about it. And I would look at something like this. I would look at these companies like 23andMe and Ancestry.com. And I would want to know more. I would want to, find out which companies are doing this. I mean, this is a big thing. And 23andMe and Ancestry.com are running a lot of promotions right now because it's the holiday season. Buy 23andMe for your family members to find out where your genetic makeup is from, even though they're not 100% accurate, because if you go to both, you're going to get different results. So, I would agree with the article here. I would hold off on using it. I would hold off on buying it, and send this to people who might think about it, because the only way to get them to not do this is to hurt them in the wallet, which is going to be basically boycotting their company until they address these issues said by anonymous sources in a Cracked.com article. And the sad thing is, Cracked used to just be dumb, made-up news. This is probably not made up. This is probably legitimately happening, and it's really freaking sad. Hey guys, that wraps up this video. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so below. I love to read your guys' input. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel, there's the Amazon affiliate store, there's PayPal, there's Patreon, there's Bitcoin. And if you're bored and you want something else to watch, check out 3 Buck Theater up here. My name is Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a wonderful day. Peace out.